Thank you, Ria. Good morning. It's another beautiful morning here in the city of Abuja, and thank you for joining FCT Brief.
Good morning, Nigeria. It's a beautiful Thursday morning.
Well, let's jump into what we have for you today. You're welcome to FCT Brief, your morning companion, where we bring clarity and perspective to the nation's most important conversations. Today, we'll be looking at an issue at the heart of national development, which is skills, innovation, and the future of work in Nigeria. As the global economy continues to evolve with technology and automation reshaping industries, nations are rethinking how best to prepare their workforce for emerging opportunities. Here in Nigeria, the federal government is placing strong emphasis on technical and vocational education as a key driver for economic transformation and youth empowerment.
From the classrooms to the workshops, new initiatives are being rolled out to bridge the skill gap, reduce unemployment, and equip young Nigerians with hands-on competencies that align with modern industry needs. The goal is clear: to create a future-ready workforce capable of driving productivity, entrepreneurship, and self-reliance. But how far have we come in achieving these objectives? What practical steps are being taken to ensure technical education meets global standards and remains relevant to Nigeria's fast-changing labor markets? Joining us this morning to shed light on these critical issues is Professor Idris Muhammad Bugaje, Executive Secretary, National Board for Technical Education, NBTE, a key institution at the forefront of driving technical and vocational skills development across the country. Nice to have you here this morning.
It's a pleasure. Good morning, Nigerians.
Thank you very much. Let's start this way. In April 2025, the federal government announced the release of 120 billion, and they said it is with an agenda to empower 650,000 youths with technical, vocational, and digital skills. Now, 6 months after, help us track the release of these funds and the performance of your board with the utilization of this fund.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, I think the federal government has a very robust program on skills development, because today skills are the global currency of labor. And last April, as you mentioned, the new Tibet initiative was launched. The figures might not be exactly 120. 70 billion was actually budgeted for through TED Fund. And this money was to be released to NEL Fund. As I know, about 20 billion has been released so far. We're expecting another 50 billion. Out of that 600 target, we have so far rolled it out for 58,000, because we have to pilot this program and learn and improve on its delivery before the remaining thousands, hundreds of thousands are rolled out. So far so good, because 58,000 Nigerians all over the 36 states have been allocated to centers for training. These centers were accredited by the National Board for Technical Education. The management of the funds is not with us, it's with the NEL Fund. And the NEL Fund has a very robust, very transparent mechanism driven by technology, for disbursement of funds to verified centers and verified learners. So far so good. It's a good beginning. We hope this will be sustained in the coming years, because the number of Nigerians who registered for this program is 1.3 million. 960,000 have been, accredited in a way. The NIA has matched their BVN. So we are rolling it out gradually in phases. So far, so good, and we hope, governments and the private sector will support this program so that we can be able to change the narrative of the Nigerian youth from a lot of, despair to a condition where Nigerian youth will raise their heads anywhere with good qualification on skills. Within the country, they can take jobs. They can move beyond the borders of Nigeria, because there are so much skill gaps across the world. And Nigeria needs to leverage on that. Let's train our young people. Let's add value to them. Let's give them skills qualifications so that they can move beyond the borders of Nigeria to take jobs while meeting the local demands. Today, Nigeria is importing a lot of skilled labor from ECOWAS Francophone countries in construction, from India in the refinery construction by Dangote, from several other Asian countries in the oil and gas sector. This must change. By the time we finish rolling out this program, that skill gap shall be bridged, and we hope the youth will be more empowered.
I like the fact that you raised this issue of skill gap, because we're now in a world that is driven by technology, automation, and AI.
Yes.
And I would like to know, how aligned are MBTE's current policies with the evolving realities of today's labor market?
Well, we are the only agency among the regulatory bodies that's using technology to drive our activities. We are using technology, AI, etc., in accreditation. We no longer do physical accreditation of institutions. We do online accreditation. We use AI to confirm whether the resources are real or fake, whether a lecturer is appearing in more than one institution, etc. So, but beside the Federal Ministry of Education program, don't forget the Federal Ministry of Communication has rolled out 3 MTT, 3 million technology talents. This covers areas of ICT, AI, machine learning technologies, a lot of these call center operations that are available all over the world. India controls 50% of the call center activities globally. Nigeria needs to take a large chunk of that, and several other digital skills that are needed. Some of them you can even sit at home and earn a living. So Ministry of Communication is also driving a very good program, 3 million talented technicians among the Nigerian youth. Ministry of Labor is also running NASAP. They are trying to address the skill gaps in the construction industry. The best POPs, tilers, finishers in Abuja and across the country are from Benin and Togo at the moment. So we need to change that narrative. So with the NASAP program, they are trying to also empower young Nigerians with construction skills. The only thing which MBT is doing is let them operate under the Nigerian Skills Qualification Framework. Let us give them the NSQ, not a certificate of attendance. Give them Nigerian Skills Qualification Certificate so that it is recognized here within the country and they can use it even beyond the borders of Nigeria to take employment.
Okay, let's look at this other aspect. I like the fact the other time you talked about attracting the private sector, and now we're talking about the curriculum. What bothers me also is that polytechnics, for instance, are under the MBTE, and tech is the future of every economy. But when it comes to certification, there seems to be a kind of a bias against these people. And when at entry level there's a bias against them, you already you're not empowering them. For instance, I know very well in the civil service, whether the state or federal civil service, somebody who graduates with a HND will not rise beyond level 14. Meanwhile, his counterparts that they entered the same day, they graduated the same time, entered service the same day, can get to level 17. Now, every now and then the National Assembly will say we've passed the bill to harmonize it, but it's not done. Now, what is being pushed in this direction to ensure that HND tech skilled people are given the priority in employment?
Well, that in itself is a sign of underdevelopment. What we are doing to HND holders in Nigeria is a sign that our system is not yet developed. There is need for us to change that attitude and that psyche. It's very wrong. And at the MBT, what we are doing is, if you go outside the borders of Nigeria, those with the HND are the ones that are even being, preferred by the industry. I had worked in South Africa for 1 year, and the HND who graduates, before they finish, the industries are coming to recruit them. The BSc holders are allowed to go on their own to look for jobs, but HND holders are hotcakes. In Nigeria, it's in the reverse order. What we are trying to do at the MBTE, we have made all attempts. Legislations have been done. The former regime of Buhari, the legislation even taken to the villa, it was never signed to stop that dichotomy. What we are proposing under this new regime is, let us bring an end to the HND. Technical education should end with the national diploma. After ND, you can now move and do your Bachelor of Technology honors. But polytechnics shall award that degree, a skills-based degree, a degree based on not only character learning, but character learning and skills. That is the only way, because Nigerian system has refused to accept the HND. Yeah. So let's give them Bachelor of Technology honors. That's what Ghana has done in the last almost 10 years. South Africa, what they did was they allowed concurrence. Those who want to do for the BTech honors, they won't take an academic, they allow them. Those who want to do HND are allowed to do. For the past 30 years, that's how the system is in South Africa. So in Nigeria, we feel we better copy what Ghana has done. So there's already a legislation being sponsored by the Speaker that will allow amendment of the Polytechnic Act so that polytechnics would offer Bachelor of Technology honors in place of the HND. But it will not be like the ordinary bachelor degrees in universities. It will be a bachelor degree with a difference. Skills will be heavily embedded. At least 70% of the content must be hands-on. So that's what we are trying to drive. And we hope, I'm very sure Mr. President, who is very passionate about TVET and skills, would pass that bill without any hesitation. So we're pushing it from our end, and we hope the National Assembly will fast-track it so that that thing will be a thing of the past.
All right, we'll come back to this conversation very shortly, but let's take this quick break now. Don't go anywhere. We still have more for you on the program. Grab your coffee. We'll be right back. Ahmed Bougaje, and he's the Executive Secretary of the NBTE. Now, many technical institutions are still training students with outdated equipment and underqualified instructors. How is NBTE bridging this quality gap between the classroom training and industry expectations?
Exactly. Well, sincerely, TVET in the past 30 years had suffered so much. We have been using archaic equipment to deliver TVET education at both sub-tertiary and tertiary levels. The recent intervention, the recent new TVET initiative introduced by the Federal Ministry of Education in the last 2 years is trying to change that narrative. Yes, indeed, if you go to our workshops, you'll find colonial type of lathe machines, milling machines, drilling machines that were used in the last 100 years probably, which is very sad. But now, modern technology is using CNC machines. The same thing with areas of computer science courses that we deliver. A lot of them were behind the time. So recently we unbundled HND computer science. You don't do HND computer science anymore. You have to do HND in new technologies such as AI, such as software engineering, such as cybersecurity, etc. So these are some of the unbundled programs so that we can match with time. So MBT is already addressing that. The only challenge to this change is the funding. Funding has to be improved significantly for TVET, not only by federal but even by the state governments. Yes, some of the federal institutions, if you go there, are better equipped. If you go to the state polytechnics and other institutions, they are poorly equipped. Technical colleges are the worst because they are in a very bad, sorry state in terms of infrastructure. So for that reason, we are appealing to the federal government to sustain funding of TVET and even for the states to buy into this new TVET initiative so that they can also improve their funding of TVET. Importantly, also, we are trying to address the informal sector because this has been a sector that has been neglected. Nigerian economy is 70% informal. They contribute significantly to the GDP, more than the formal industries. So there is need for us to refocus our TVET system so that we can also improve on the informal sector. 2 days ago, we had, the first RPL award in Nigeria, recognition of prior learning, whereby, the roadside mechanics, the roadside, welders, fabricators, and all those roadside, informal industries were recognized. Their master craftspersons were assessed. And we were able to compare their competencies with the standards we have, the curricula that we have. And they were awarded certificates. Level 1 to 9, most of them got level 2 to 3. So this is what we have also introduced in the NBTE. We are doing it for the first time in the history of Nigeria. Kenya did their own in the last year. They graduated about 601. This year, Nigeria graduated 619. So this is another area that we need to refocus TVET. Because when you do skills training, when you do the workshops, when you do the classroom, you have to also go to the industry. You have to be assessed on the job. A lot of states in the country don't even have functional industries, formal industries. So we have to utilize the informal ones. So that's why we are trying to empower the informal industries try to certify them, try to introduce quality assurance and standards. With this, we can be able to work with them in skills development. And we have already taken a milestone in that by introducing the recognition of prior learning, RPL.
Okay. Earlier you talked about, you said most of the polytechnics in the states are ill-equipped. Now, your board handles the accreditation of those courses.
Yes.
Do you from time to time check and withdraw the accreditation? Because if they are not equipped, then why are they in operation?
Yeah, sure.
Then the second thing is, I know there was this community and education center that was commissioned in Ecotech in April.
Yeah.
Now, is it possible to replicate them across all the local government? You talked about the informal sector.
Yes.
So that the informal sector can have easy access to this skill acquisition. Then the second thing I want to ask you is, this money that was released, how much is meant for capital projects, how much of it is meant to pay stipends, how much of it is meant to pay the salaries, so that we understand that this entire money is not for capital development. So help us get a better grasp of
the 70 billion from TED fund is entirely for for payment of stipends and tuition. No capital. But we are hoping in the next year, 2026, there will be a special budget for federal technical colleges to improve their equipment and their capital outlay and infrastructure. But when we come to the states, 2 years ago, I had to withdraw the operation license of 2 state polytechnics because they were underperforming. Students, even enrollment was going down, staff were not paid salary, etc. So a lot of, students were being shortchanged. The training was not being run properly. We had to withdraw the operation license for almost 6 months before the state government came to intervene, to upgrade the facilities, to pay the backlog of salaries. Then we restored the operational license. So any institution that fails to meet our standards, we can at any time, whether federal or state or even private, we can at any time withdraw their operational license. If we withdraw the operational license, it means JAM will not give them a division quota. The NYSC will not mobilize their students because their performance is regarded as below standards. So that is already being done. We hope states will sit up. We don't want to be using the cane all the time. We prefer they follow our recommendations and improve on the staffing and the equipment of their polytechnics. The other one you mentioned is about those skills training centers that are being established. We hope this can go around every local government in Nigeria so that we can use them for skills training in the formal sector and use them also for the informal. The informal sector is really underrated in Nigeria. They have a lot of competencies that are not properly acknowledged. You see, when Dangote was building his refinery, he brought how many? 11,000 Indians to deliver it. Some people would say 2,000. Yeah, 2,000 now. But if you take the entire cycle of the installation and the commissioning, it was 11,000 from the statistics we gathered. The same thing with the pipelines. Nigeria is building another gas pipeline from Nigeria to Morocco to deliver gas to Europe because Russian gas is no longer Europe is no longer interested in Russian gas. So the delivery of these key projects, we can use this informal artisans that we have, but we need to certify them. Nobody will employ them if they don't have the correct certification. So that's what we are trying to roll out. And we need this kind of workshop that you have mentioned so that some of them can go to add value to some of their competencies. When we assess you, we may find gaps, small gaps here and there. We'll ask you, go and fill those gaps. Once you fill them, then you can come and get proper certification. So this is what we are trying to do at the moment. We hope we can create more of these skills training centers. If you look at the number of even technical colleges in the country, the number is dismally low, 129 for the whole nation of Nigeria, compared to 15,000 senior secondary schools. So we need to start even converting some conventional secondary schools into technical colleges, some conventional, centers into skills training centers, even some universities into polytechnics. Not doing it in the reverse order. 2017, China converted 600 conventional universities into polytechnics and skills training centers. We need to start doing that in Nigeria. China did it because China realized the value of skills. You know, the industrialization, the development of the economy, which is moving on a very fast track, required more hands-on skills labor. So for that reason, China had to do that. Nigeria needs to start, you know, converting some of these conventional universities that are not performing into polytechnics and skills training centers. Unfortunately, many states and even federal level, we are doing it in the reverse order. We are converting our polytechnics into universities. We are really doing disservice to the industrialization of this country.
I really like where you took this conversation, because we often see this photo op and graduation ceremony celebrating the empowerment project, but the impact is harder to prove. I'd like to know how the MBTE measures the sustainability of these skill initiatives beyond the headlines, and also beyond the curriculum design. How does MBTE also evaluate the actual competency of these graduates before they enter the job market?
Well, you have asked two questions. The first one is about these political empowerment programs. We are appealing to our politicians, especially members of the National Assembly, to please deliver those courses based on the Nigerian Skills Qualification Framework. When you bring young people, you train them anyhow. Sometimes a training that should take 1,500 hours, you deliver it within 2 weeks. They can't get NSQ. They can't get Nigerian Skills Qualification Certificate. So they are normally given a certificate of attendance. The certificate of attendance is not worth the paper it's written on. It's not beyond that. So for that reason, we're appealing to them, please, come to the MBTE, look at the kind of different trades that we have, the standards that you need to apply, the sector skill councils that you need to work with, the awarding bodies. We don't give the certificates. There are professional bodies who give the certificates. NIOB for construction skills, Nigerian Institute of Builders, Korean for engineering, Nigerian Institute of Welders for welding. These are the agencies they should work with so that they can evaluate the training, they should certify even the trainers, and then they can now run it and issue a proper certificate. If the hours that the training is being offered is not up to the required standard, they can give unit certification so that at another time, these candidates can come for additional units, and when they finish all the units, they can get a level certification. So there is need to change the way it is being done. There may be need for government to issue out a policy or even legislation to ensure that this empowerment is done under the Nigerian Skills Qualification Framework. The second question you asked was about
the performance.
The standards,
yes,
the curriculum.
The standards, yes, the curriculum.
Yeah. Well,
and
the curriculum.
How do you measure the competence of the workforce?
Yes, we do it under what we call the sector skill councils. We have about 22 at the moment. Every industry, every trade has its own sector skill council. These sector skill councils are driven by private sector industries. 70% of their membership comes from the private sector. And then there is an awarding body there, a professional body. Depending on the kind of trade, there is a body that is professional in that area. They are the ones who do the assessment, or rather they review the assessment done and they issue the certificate. And we also have a national certification body, the NAPTEP. The new minister has insisted that all certificates under our skills training program should be issued centrally for the purpose of tracking. So all the professional bodies, when they finish the assessment, they give it to NAPTEP. NAPTEP will now issue the certificate. So that is being properly done under the sector skill councils, who only regulate all the arms involved in this exercise.
Now, if time permits us, now, what's the future like? What two things would you like to be put in place to help your board?
Well, number one, MBTE for very long has been underfunded. We have suffered so much in funding that we have even stopped talking about it. 2 years ago, our funding was capital was below $500 million. This year is a little bit more than $500 million, but below $1 billion. We have so much to do for the nation. Skills today are the drivers of the global economy. Nigeria will lose out if MBT is not empowered to deliver on its mandate. We look forward to better funding of the MBT. We look forward to the creation of a national skills fund.
All right.
That's the only way to improve skills delivery in Nigeria, and we are very hopeful Mr. President will listen to this appeal.
And we definitely look forward to more functionality from the
Exactly.
MBTE. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Idris Muhammad Bogaji.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure speaking with you this morning.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being a part